Hustletown, welcome. How are you?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
Good. How was your night?
Uh, Pretty nice. Did some more FSD driving. Another flawless trip with the exception of the last 100 feet, but all in all, good drive.
Nice. Um, all right. Do you mind sharing what percent of your portfolio is in Tesla stock?
All of it. Options
100%.
and stock, all of it.
Yeah. Um, do you have a price target?
I had a 2024 price target of 315, but again, I had generated that a long time ago, and my other computer had the model that I had, and I need to generate something for 2025, but it was 315. It was lowered from like 345, but again, I'm a novice, so it's blown right through my price target.
Nice. Did you update it?
Not just yet. It's something I plan to do over the Thanksgiving holiday.
So let me ask you this. So if you had a price target before and then it blew through it, why didn't you sell?
Well, my price target doesn't include anything with energy, so that'll be something that I update in the future. It also doesn't have anything to do with Cybercab or Optimus. So my long-term, discounted cash flow, which my multiple was kind of ridiculous. I would be the first to admit that, but and it's kind of predicated on the fact that they might sell 20 million vehicles by 2030, right? I think that was one of the assumptions. So I would, you know, kind of decide where the margins would be, how many vehicles that they would produce, and try to discount that back from like 2035 or something like that. And got to a number that wasn't absolutely ridiculous without adding all that other stuff. So I know long term, I don't have a sell by date when we're talking about stock. With my options, they are obviously come with expiration dates, but I intend to hold the stock for as long as I possibly can, which is probably at a minimum 10 years. But the options, different story.
Yeah. Um, what's the extent? So you said you have a valuation model, but then you also talked about a valuation multiple. So this is not a discounted cash flow model, or did you kind of incorporate both of them? Would you like to share the details of that model? We can update it here if you want.
Yeah, see, like I had to switch computers and like there was like not enough information. So that thing's lost. I want to like redo it with you. So when you said you were like doing DCF. I tried to blend the two to try to, kind of get a comparison essentially. But when you said you were going to do that, I'm all for that. I'd love to recreate something because again, with your experience and me not just using YouTube View as my reference model, I think that would be something that many people would be interested in.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do it after half hour in X space, unless likes pick up for some reason, which I don't expect is going to happen. Um, then we're going to switch to YouTube after half hour in X, and we'll continue to build that discount cash flow model. Right now we are at 24 likes, and in the next 26 minutes we need 376 likes to keep the X space going. That's the only way staying on X makes sense. So any other questions, comments, please request to speak. I see we have Jan in the audience. I sent him a request to speak, an invite to speak. And I know he has comments around MicroStrategy, which I shorted as well. So I have a number of stocks that I shorted. I think this is probably going to be it for now. I pinned at the top of your screens the list I have. Tesla, Rivian, Nvidia, Palantir, Ford, GM, and MicroStrategy. And if anybody has any questions about any of those, would like to argue the other side, you're welcome to do so. But I found that people who just have very strong beliefs in companies, and rarely has anyone done any research into these companies. But Jan and I exchanged a few replies today, and he seems to have at least done some research into MicroStrategy. So happy to chat about it live here. And otherwise, we're probably going to switch to YouTube. Steve, oh, there we go. Hold on. Jan, welcome. How are you?
Hi, how you doing? I hope
Good.
what I'm saying is I'm in a busy bar, but I hope I'm listenable.
It's fine. We can hear you okay.
Okay, great.
So you're in a busy bar. Is it 5 o'clock over there?
7 here,
7 p.m. Are you in Europe then?
Amsterdam. Yeah.
Amsterdam. Okay, interesting. Cool. So are you a MicroStrategy investor?
Yeah, I am. And I would just like to say I really like this space. I've been here many times, and I really appreciate the space. Also, you are a very combative debater. I like that. I don't want to kiss your ass too much, but I appreciate it. I've been listening to Tesla commentary since 2018, 19, and that time I went all in. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you very much for sharing all that. Um, Jan, so why are you convinced that MicroStrategy, even though it's trading at $100 billion market cap and their holding is worth about 33 billion, why are you convinced that this is a good investment?
So I'm still. So I would say I'm right now 90% combined Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, and still 10% Tesla. I think this is going to be Bitcoin's year, at least 1 year. Maybe later I'll reallocate to Tesla. Um, there's, I think, two things happening right now with MicroStrategy. Um, one is it's considered like a MicroStrategy holding company, and so they borrow money, so they make use of their Nasdaq listed position and their like legacy business to lend money very cheaply and buy more Bitcoin. So that's why it's at least a leveraged Bitcoin play. So I think this year we're going to have the next cycle of Bitcoin. If you look at the history, this is just what's going to happen, and I think you can expect at least like a 5x on the last all-time high. So this is one aspect of MicroStrategy, which I'm betting on, and the other is the increase from a one multiple to net asset value to I think it's right now it's at a 3.5. I think it was in January less than one, which was ridiculous, and now I think it's like 3.5 or something, or maybe three, and I think that can go to 6 or 10, and I think Bitcoin can also do a five, at least a 5x, and I think MicroStrategy the multiple can have a 2 or 3x as well. So I think we're not done yet. Very far from done.
Jan, how did you come up with the 6 to 10x net asset value multiple for MicroStrategy?
So I totally did not come up with this. I'm just listening. I'm not like a superhero or something. I'm listening to people who make sense to me. If you listen to the quarterly earnings call from Michael Saylor, if you listen to the Quant Pros on YouTube, MicroStrategy Daily, so please don't listen to me. Please listen to them. But the thing that I think is most easy to comprehend is that you have a lot of locked up capital that wants to go into Bitcoin but cannot because of regulation. So maybe pension funds, or maybe how do you call it, family funds, or those kinds of things. They have mandates. They cannot do crazy things. So they are allowed to buy bonds. A MicroStrategy is they have like drilled a hole to these uh, big gigantic bond markets, and they can sell convertible bonds. And as I understand it, I might be maybe directionally correct, is that they are using the volatility of Bitcoin which makes their company go up and down. And if their company goes up, which you can do because it's very volatile, these bondholders can lock in much higher gains than they normally would, because a bond is a very low risk asset. But a convertible bond can trigger a clause that they can buy shares at a certain, if a company goes up at a certain price. And because it's so volatile, the chance is quite high that this will happen. And this is happening the last 2 months or even more than that. So they have drilled a hole to a gigantic market, and this fiat money is funneling through these convertible bonds to MicroStrategy, which is which is buying Bitcoin, which makes the price of Bitcoin go up, which makes the price of MicroStrategy go up, which triggers the bonds, and they can do it again. So that's how I understand. That's one aspect.
Okay, thank you. But you didn't answer my question, right? You said, I said, how did you come up with the 6 to 10x net asset value multiple? And I don't think you explained that. Jan, do you have an iPhone?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Can you turn on voice isolation from the upper right corner of your phone?
Hang on.
So if you swipe down from the upper right corner, there should be an option to turn on voice isolation.
I've got noise cancellation. I can't see anything else.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So sorry, go back. So sorry for the audience who may be worried about the noise, right? But we can hear Jan
I
fine.
can go outside. I'm gonna walk outside.
Okay, thank you, Jan.
So I didn't explain the 6 to 10 x the multiple to net asset value.
Right.
So okay. Normal businesses, I think Google and Microsoft, they have like a 30 or 50x to price equity ratio. That's not quite comparable, and I'm not an expert at that. But if you look up the Bitcoin yield MicroStrategy is making, I think they were 20%, or it was a little higher or lower, but it's very high. And if there's any regular business that is making that kind of profits based on their total value, you would give them a multiple, and it would not be one.
Yeah, I think the multiple on net asset value depends on the asset.
I think it depends on what they're making.
Yeah, like for example, if there's a Coca-Cola and you look at their net asset value, and Coca-Cola brand is obviously very valuable. This is not reflected on the balance sheet directly. So the net asset value of Coca-Cola would be higher, but Bitcoin is a one-to-one asset. Like I can buy Bitcoin without buying MicroStrategy. So I don't think the net asset value multiple should be any different than one, except if you believe Bitcoin price will increase very rapidly.
Yeah.
And
So
let's say MicroStrategy has a unique way of investing in it in a leveraged way that nobody else can replicate, then maybe in that case you can justify more than one net asset value.
Yeah. So do you have any Bitcoin? Do you believe in Bitcoin itself?
Yeah, I don't think that's relevant to this conversation. I don't have any Bitcoin now.
Okay, so it is totally relevant. It is extremely relevant. So personally, what I'm doing, I believe this is like a triple inception kind of move, because this is like a triple niche. First, you need to understand Bitcoin. You need to understand that Bitcoin is going to, yeah, let's say this cycle it may be anywhere between 200,000 and 1 million, and maybe next cycle will be 2, 3, 4 million, and it's going to keep going up forever because Bitcoin has no top, because fiat has no bottom. It's like a saying. So first, you need to totally understand this, and I would need to talk to you in a month, maybe before you've read up on Bitcoin. Then you need to understand MicroStrategy on top of this. So I just tried to explain it in 2 minutes, but you need a lot more time and a lot better people than me to explain it. And then you have a third thing. You can also, so I've bought some options. I'm not a crazy guy. So you have some crazy guys in the, there's a Twitter, like a Twitter group, irresponsibly long MicroStrategy. I recommend you go check that out as well. And they've got some crazy people who've become multi millionaires in the past few weeks. But I'm a normal Dutch guy, so I'm not that crazy. But it is, so I've bought the options with the expectation that Bitcoin is going to explode the coming year, because if you believe the cycle theory, this is what it's looks like going to happen. So it's like a triple. You have to understand three things. Yeah.
Jan, I think MicroStrategy will be worth $50 a share in 1 year.
Okay, great. So you're gonna get. I think we're gonna do the coffee deal. You're gonna win one coffee with that.
Okay. Well, I'm short MicroStrategy. I might actually add to it if it continues to go up. What do you make of today's extreme volatility, where it went up 15% pre-market and then went down 10% after that in an hour? So 25% swing. You know,
Yeah,
what do you make of that?
I'm feeling pretty bad because I didn't get 10% richer today, so I'm having a bit of a bad day. I just spent a lot on a few cocktails. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, so it's people are saying Michael Saylor's hitting the ATM. So every time the stock is going up, he can sell the shares and buy more Bitcoin. Then the stock goes up again, then he can buy more Bitcoin. And then his liquid, like his company is larger, so he can sell bigger bonds. He sells bigger bonds, he can buy more Bitcoin. So it's like a flywheel. So it's fine. I think the stock going down is fine because Michael is selling, so he can buy more Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up. It's fine. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I'm
I can
happy.
hear you. Hustle time. Any questions for Jan?
Not particularly. I got an uncle that talks to me about Bitcoin, and he's pretty passionate. It goes in one ear, out the other. I'm sure this is a great way to make money. I only invest in things that I can actually put my hands on. So kudos.
Jan, if you had another $1,000 to invest, would you put it in MicroStrategy or Bitcoin?
I think I personally have like a 60-40 regarding MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. They offer different things. So if you're buying Bitcoin, you're buying a part of a network, which is, in my view, totally indestructible. If you're buying MicroStrategy, you're taking a risk on the management team of MicroStrategy, which is mainly Saylor. So if Saylor gets some food poisoning tonight, the party is over. Or maybe it could be partly over. The same way that if something happens to Elon, the Tesla party could be a little bit over. But Bitcoin is a totally different asset. It doesn't change. You can never lose a fraction, let's say, of the network if you buy one Bitcoin. It just stays the same. So it's a different asset. If I maybe had a dictator in my country who, if he didn't like my stance on like vaccinations or something, he could say, well, your stocks are now mine. That would be a problem. But if I have Bitcoin, he cannot take it away from me. So that's the difference.
I think we've seen examples of FBI or government agencies taking Bitcoin away, right?
Yeah, you can take it away. So if you stand next to me and you maybe try to break my fingers, maybe I will give you some clues about where my Bitcoin is. But anything other than that, it's quite difficult.
Okay, cool. All right, Jan. Thank you very much.
Thanks for letting me speak.
All
Thank you.
right. Take care. Hustle Town, what'd you think?
Yeah, again, I really am probably just not the right person to discuss it. I have people in my ear constantly about Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, and to me, it just feels pyramidy. But that's just me. Like I know a lot of people use it, and a lot of people invest their money in there. It's just I can't touch it. I'm done.
You actually know people who invest in MicroStrategy?
My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he gets me into like we get in these conversations because he knows I'm big on Tesla and he knows I got a sizable portion of my wealth in there, and he tries to, maybe you want to diversify with some of this, and MicroStrategy does come up.
And what's your brother's background?
Right now he's prior military, but he does something on oil rigs. He's I don't know. That's about the extent of it. I know he's gone a lot because he goes to oil rigs and things of that nature. But these coins, Bitcoin and MicroStrategy is basically what he does to try to supplement that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think MicroStrategy is probably easiest short among the ones I have shorted so far. And it's one of my largest shorts.
I wish I knew more about it. Like even when people talk to me about it, I'm just like, okay, thanks. And Jen, it sounds like a brilliant man. Probably made a lot of money. I just really, if somebody wants to maybe, I don't know, it's still foreign to me.
Yeah. Finflexity, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I can't hear Finflexity. Can you guys hear Finflexity?
I can hear him.
Oh.
Probably needs to go back down, come back up for you.
All right, I'll come back. Hold on, I'll switch. All right, Finflexity, can you try again?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Exactly.
Yeah, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
What do you think about MicroStrategy?
Uh, I have been an investor for more than a year, I think.
You've been an investor in MicroStrategy for more than a year?
Yeah, I bought it for my parents' retirement account last year. Bitcoin and MicroStrategy together.
Wow. Okay, here we go. Are you gonna sell it or are you holding it?
It's not that big of a bet. I think it's a few shares, like 20 or 30 in their account. So I don't think I'll sell it.
Sorry, your reason for not selling is it's a small account?
Yeah, it's just a risky bet there because I think that Bitcoin is a good investment and there's still like my original investment price. There's approximately a 4x gain since then. So, I'll be happy even if it sells, I can sell it back at like 300 and still have a 3x gain. Or I think personally that it will go up. So, I have a risk tolerance on that account.
Why do you think MicroStrategy will continue to go up?
Because Bitcoin's price will continue to go up for the next, I think, a long period.
You have a lot of background noise coming out. I think you're moving around your microphone.
Yeah, now is it okay?
No, there's a lot of background noise. Sorry. Lucia, how are you?
All good, Yaman. I'm just connecting from my brand new PC with only the best hardware because Tesla bears only join Tesla Live with the very best hardware.
Wait, what? What did you say?
I'm saying that basically I want to thank all the bulls that bought my shares, and now I bought myself a new computer just for Tesla Live because I need the best hardware for Tesla Live.
Yeah, thanks, Lucia. Yeah, I mean, I really want to just kind of do away with the emotional back and forth and just really focus on the fundamentals. I think I know I'm walking a thin line here with shorting Tesla stock in the community. It is kind of interesting that 99% of people have still continued to follow me on X and continue to subscribe on YouTube. I would have expected maybe like half of the people to go, to be honest with you, but only 1% having kind of loud mouths and with a bunch of insults and replies and stuff. I see them, I see who they are, and I take note and for future reference. But it is what it is. Luce, do you want to talk Nvidia or Tesla?
It's the same. I have like 15, 20 minutes though. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah, that's fine.
very busy.
That's all we have to. Let's talk Nvidia then. What did you make of yesterday's earnings call?
So I followed for the most part even on YouTube, at least in the beginning. And I talked the call, and the data was bullish. So I know I like Nvidia. I think it's overvalued, but it's very hard to short it. Like it's very hard to do it.
Why is that?
Well, because it seems like there is no a lowering in demand anytime soon. It doesn't seem so. It seems like, for what I've seen, it seems like the demand will surpass the production up to Q2 2025, and then maybe like it's hard it's hard to imagine if it's gonna continue. But yeah, I don't see how it's easy to start to short it.
What gives you confidence that demand will continue to exceed supply for the foreseeable future?
Well, it was in their call, right? Even though it's a $3.5 trillion company, like they had a very bad microphone, so I might have misunderstood something. But for what I heard, like they say the trend will continue well into 2025.
Okay, so you're confident that just because the management said demand will continue to exceed supply well into 2025 next year, that it will be so. So your support is what management said. Is there anything else? Nothing else. Okay. What'd you make of their call? What'd you make of their comments around margin, gross margin?
So if I remember correctly, they think the margins will be 70% up to and then will increase again, right? Something like that.
Yeah, they said as they ramp Blackwell chips, it's going to go down to low 70s, and then the goal is to get it back up to mid 70s once Blackwell ramps. You think they're going to do that?
Yeah, I think I don't see how that company can be shorted, even though it's the most valuable company on earth. I literally don't see a shortage in demand, so I don't see how it's possible to take a negative stand on it.
Yeah, but you didn't answer my question. The question was, what do you think of their comment? Do you think they're going to be able to ramp gross margin back up to mid 70s?
Well, until they don't have any serious competitor, they will.
Okay. So I think that maybe you did more research on Tesla than Nvidia. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay. Let's focus on Tesla then. Did you write puts at around 200? I think you were thinking about doing that, right?
I think writing puts, you mean to sell puts, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's still too early. Like the stock is too high. I don't want the stock back whenever it hits, I don't know, 280 or 270. I want it for lower. I want to buy puts possibly, but I want lower volatility. So the premium is lower. Basically, you pay less for the puts. And potentially, I want the stock to even go higher. Like for me, at this point, it's either the stock goes higher and I make profit, at least in my opinion, buying puts, or it goes lower and I make profits selling puts. I'm very well positioned in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Lucia. Chat with you next time. All right. We just crossed half hour and we didn't reach 400 likes. Therefore, we're going to switch to YouTube. See you all there. Thank you. Sultan, I sent a link to the speaker group if you want to join there. If not, that's okay too. Sultan, how are you?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. Is
Good.
there an echo on my end, or is it?
Do you hear an echo?
We're still backstage, or no? We're in the show. Oh, it's good. It's good.
You don't hear an echo? The audience hear an echo? Real Zertic hears an echo. Okay, give me one
Yeah,
second.
I think it was brief though. I think it stopped.
Real Zertic says it's fine now. Okay. All right. So let's continue here. I'm gonna end the YouTube. There we go. Let's kind of dig into MicroStrategy a little bit more. Have you looked into this company at all?
Not at all. I don't know what it does or why is it linked to Bitcoin at all.
So, like, if you mentioned earlier that you want to improve your understanding of investing and in general, and I think it would be much better. You would achieve that much faster if you analyze multiple companies and instead of focus on one company all the time.
I've definitely heard that before. That's probably something to that.
Yeah. And so, like, MicroStrategy is an interesting case because I think this company, so on the screen right now, look at the stock price chart. This is insane. This is really, really wild. It's a company that surged similarly at the peak of the tech bubble in March 2000. I don't know why it surged at that point. I'm guessing it has something to do with kind of riding the coattails of the dot-com bubble. And then it's doing a similar move today on the back of the Bitcoin wave. Now, who knows if Bitcoin is a bubble or not? I don't think it's going to replace the US dollar. I don't think people will make their transactions primarily on Bitcoin in the future. But in the near term, people are continuing to buy it with the hopes of selling it to somebody else at a higher price. And that can continue for a while. I don't know when that's going to pop. But MicroStrategy is an interesting case because they basically gave up on their entire business strategy, which I think was something around software. But 100% of the value now depends on their Bitcoin holdings. And what they do is my understanding is that they issue convertible bonds. So basically equity. They issue equity. They dilute their equity holders to buy more Bitcoin. And the question I have really is, which I don't think Jan was able to answer, to be honest with you, but so Phil asks the same question that I have in live chat. Phil says, why do people buy MicroStrategy when they can just buy Bitcoin? I think the CEO has convinced a lot of people that he has a special of buying Bitcoin that most retail holders cannot do. That MicroStrategy can buy Bitcoin, leverage Bitcoin at a lower cost than others can. And maybe to the extent that somebody believes that cryptocurrencies will be the dominant form of money in the future, maybe that works. I don't know. But I think that's a requirement. Like, you have to believe that first to buy into MicroStrategy's methodology. If anybody else has views on this, please let me know in live chat, and we can kind of dig into it point by point, because I do want to understand this psychology here, or the mechanics here, because I think the psychology is more important, but I don't want to miss anything on the mechanics part. Can you hear me okay still?
Oh yeah, I'm just trying to digest. You explained it pretty good. I just feel very uneasy looking at this chart.
Yeah.
Man.
So Real Zertex says, Phil, it's not a one-to-one leverage play. So yeah, it is a leverage play. So it's a leverage play on Bitcoin, basically. So if Bitcoin starts going down again, as it did, that MicroStrategy will collapse even faster. Real Zertex says, if you buy MicroStrategy or Bitcoin ETFs, you don't have to secure your own Bitcoin. Okay. Kevin King says, some institutions may not be able to buy Bitcoin due to investment mandate restrictions, but can buy an equity that has exposure to Bitcoin. Although the thing is, like so let's say, for example, Kevin, give me an example of a company, investment company, that can not buy Bitcoin, but that can buy MicroStrategy. Can you just rattle off some examples? So we'll wait for Kevin to do that. So if anybody in the audience knows of an example of what Kevin King said, which is some institutions may not be able to buy Bitcoin due to investment mandate restrictions, but can buy equity that has exposure to Bitcoin. So MicroStrategy equity stock that has exposure to Bitcoin. Are there any examples of this? If anybody knows an example of an investment company that is not allowed to buy Bitcoin, but can buy Bitcoin exposure through stock in MicroStrategy and has done so in mass, I would be interested in that. So Real Zertek gives an example of a Norwegian oil fund cannot buy Bitcoin, but it can buy MSTR, MicroStrategy. So we're going to look into that. Real Zertek says the Norwegian oil fund needs approval from their Congress to buy pure Bitcoin. So Real Zertek, what's the name of that Norwegian oil fund? Low profile says, I set stop sell at 400 for all of my MicroStrategy shares. Yeah. I mean, my understanding is that this surge in MicroStrategy is being driven by retail investors' excitement around MicroStrategy, around Bitcoin. And as Jan mentioned, and he also added that he had a few cocktails. He was calling it from a bar, and he was talking about call options on MicroStrategy, which is already about a leverage play on Bitcoin while having cocktails. So that's an interesting mix. And I think that, what low profile said, for example, retail investors do use stop sells, which means if a stock drops below a previously set level, the broker sells automatically. It executes a sell. It's supposed to be a risk minimizing strategy, but I don't know of any investment firm or a serious investor that uses stop sell strategies. So it is possible, because this is mostly a retail driven stock, it is possible that we're going to see a stop sells executing if the share price starts declining, or when the share starts declining. There's no telling that this stock cannot go to 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, whatever, right? There's no, I can't say that confidently. But what I have noticed is that the volume in MicroStrategy, the share of news, eyeballs on the stock, share of chatter, has increased dramatically. And I would be surprised if it increases even more. But so Real Zertex says the same fund that owns 1% of Tesla pension fund. Okay, but what's the name of it so I can look it up? William Kochek 79. Thank you very much. So maybe we'll switch to this tab real quick, and we can look at. I need to move us here for a second. Give me 1 second. Okay. So according to Yahoo Finance, MicroStrategy major holders: Capital International Investors, 10%, Vanguard 10%, Morgan Stanley 5%, BlackRock 5%, State Street 1.8%, Geode 1.5%, SIG 1.5%, Norges Bank Investment Manager. I think this is the one he's referring to. So let's pull them up. Here is their about the fund. Government Pension Fund Global was established after Norway discovered oil, blah, blah, blah. The fund in brief. We're looking for investments. Equities, fixed income, real estate, renewable energy. Total holdings sorted by industry, equities. I need to find their prospectus. That's what I'm really looking for here. The fund, returns, history, investment insights, podcast, news, publications, reports, organization. Let's go reports, intern reporting. Let's look at the annual report here. Let's search for Bitcoin. Nothing. MicroStrategy. Nothing. MSTR. Nothing. Okay. So they own 700. If I go back to this tab, they own about $720 million of MicroStrategy, which is less than 1%, 0.86%. And according to their website, what's the AUM here? How much is this in USD? We're looking at 2 trillion USD, right? Yeah. So they have 2 trillion USD, less than 1 billion in MicroStrategy. Okay. Kevin King says CalPERS owns MSTR, but no Bitcoin. CalPERS owns MSTR, but no Bitcoin. Let's look at that one. Yes. Fund. Asset allocation monthly updates. Let's check that out. So Kevin, can CalPERS not own Bitcoin? Because they actually own a bunch of different asset classes here. They have public equity, even private equity, income assets, real assets, private debt, other trust. Like there's a say in their prospectus that they cannot own Bitcoin. Kevin says it takes a long time for pension funds to review alternative investments and get them approved for addition. I mean, Bitcoin has been around for a while now. It's not like an asset that was just added. All right, I'm going to take these down. Norwegian and CalPERS, and I'm going to research their prospectus for Bitcoin holding. Any rules around Bitcoin? Thank you, Billy, for the super chat. And thank you to those of you who liked the video. All right. Let's switch back to some of these tweets. MicroStrategy. I mean, I don't think we're going to find anything here, but MicroStrategy mission statement. Engaged in the process of leveraging their access to cheap fiat capital and use it buy to Bitcoin, the firm designs, develop, market, sells convertible bonds and leaps. Wow. So it's not just convertible bonds. To this is a joke. Borrow money convertible notes to buy Bitcoin. If it's bull market leverage, Bitcoin will trade a premium. Sell new shares. Repeat. What can go wrong? Okay. Enough of this one. Hustle Town, any comments on Bitcoin or MicroStrategy?
Good luck. Yeah, that's about the best I can offer.
Real Zertex says there have been talk in Norwegian media in the last few months, politicians, etc., urging the fund to buy Bitcoin. Okay. Some people have also mentioned in my replies today that U.S. government will buy $100 billion of Bitcoin for Bitcoin reserve, and even though I think they say they might, I think they would need congressional approval to do something like that. But I'm not sure. I'm not positive on that. Let's switch to this. Tesla. Hustle Town, what do you think is going to be the ASP for Optimus when it comes to market?
Let's just say it comes to market Q1 2028. At that stage of the game, I would give it a average selling price of around $35,000.
Okay. And how do you think that price is going to trend in the next few years?
I'd imagine they're going to lower the price, probably get as low as $20,000 if everything goes smoothly by 2030.
Okay. So you're saying 20,000. And then what about margins?
I would give it similar margins to what's going on right now. I wouldn't assess anything over 20%, like just being conservative.
And that stays the same. So Tesla reduces prices as the costs go down.
Correct.
Okay. All right. You know what? I think 20 is a little too low. So let's reduce it by 1,000 per quarter. Okay.
Sure.
And just keep it at 25,000. I think this, I mean, I don't really see how, like, let's say, for example, if Tesla shipped really only 1,000 units in Q1 2028, they would be able to charge way more than $35,000, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I think they'd be able to charge whatever they want, but it's kind of similar to the Model 3, Model Y. They could probably charge 50 grand for them, but I think it's going to be shock value. They're gonna make them cheap.
Yeah. Let's start with 50,000 and then drop it 1,000 each quarter. Or drop it 2,000 each quarter. Okay, that's probably more reasonable, I think. So Elon has said about 20-30% growth from 2025 to 2026. Sorry, 2024 to 2025. What do you think about that comment?
It's wishful thinking. I don't know. I'd like to see it return, but I don't think they'll be focused on that. I think unless we're talking about cybercab production, the fact that we haven't had any real announcements for new factories and things, I think they're going to be content with their current production rates. I just think it's wishful thinking. It'll be lower.
Okay. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say 10% growth. Okay. Let's say 10% growth. I mean, he does say they're going to get to 3 million, and they do have 3 million production capacity. And I do think that the vehicles are really good. So I do think that the transition from ICE and hybrids to EVs, and especially Teslas, will continue. So let's work it up to 3 million capacity over time. So right now they're at 1.8. We're going to ignore seasonality for now. Okay, we can make the adjustment later. So let's call it. I think Q1 will be challenging. Okay, so let's call it 400,000, or let's say 450,000. And then let's increase let's increase 5% per quarter for now. Okay. And then we're going to keep that going until we get to 750, I guess. Yeah, there we go. So Q4 2027. Okay, so that's when you get to 3 million annualized rate. How is that?
I like it. It's conservative. I like it.
Okay, well, let's dig into that. Why do you think it's conservative?
I personally think that they don't drop below 500,000 again. Personally, but again, my wishful thinking is probably on par with Elon's. I have a feeling they're going to return to a level of growth that is on par with what they had envisioned before. But that all is predicated on the cybercat and what they're able to do. So,
Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to reduce ASP. We're going to set 45,000, and I'm going to reduce it by 1%. And I will ramp margin back up to 25 and keep it there. Let's do.
You don't think the average selling price is going to be considerably lower than that?
ASP, yeah, I think it will decline. But I think the interest rates are also gonna come down, so maybe Tesla won't have to cut prices as much as people think. I think this $25,000 or $30,000 car is gonna take some time to ramp and all that. But what do you think? You think we're more aggressive on the ASPs?
I thought the ASPs were like in the what is it right now? I thought it was lower than that right now.
Yeah, it is lower. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt since I'm a short now.
I don't know if they're going to raise the prices.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's where I kind of like, but I could see it. I just don't. I don't know. Well, this is going to get real complicated with because all of this is before 2026, except right here. I just think it's going to have a huge drop off at the Q1 2027 when it comes to average selling price. Like it's going to be significant.
Q1 2027.
Yeah.
Why 2027? You have some background noise on your end.
Oh, my apologies. How's it sound right now?
Yeah. Do you have any voice isolation on your AirPods? There you go. That worked.
All right. Good deal.
Yeah, that sounds better. I think the ASP will increase probably for a little bit because of the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck ramp.
That makes sense. The next generation vehicle, the half essentially where they're gonna go building off the Model 3 and Model Y lines. That's gonna get into production around 2027, I'd imagine, like ramping up to fully. That would be my only reason why.
Yeah. Yeah, we can dig into this a little bit more, but I think for now I'm probably comfortable with these numbers.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. So, what is the average selling price right now exactly? Do you know?
I thought it was around 36,000.
No, that's COGS. That's COGS.
I thought it was the ASP.
I think it's about $42,000. So let's
42.
Yeah, let's do 42,000 for now. And I think it's going to decline very gradually because I think Cybertruck will pull it up for a while. Cybertruck production ramp. That would probably lead to an increase in margins for a bit. So let's say 18, 20, 22, 25, and then keep that 25 as the Cybertruck production ramps. Like again, I said, we're going to divide this into other segments as well over time. So starting with just very general line items for Optimus, automotive. We can even do an FSD, separate FSD part as well. We can name this, let's name this Tesla, and then we can do another one for Nvidia. Let's do a revenue. And this is gross margin. And let's do gross profit. And then this is just going to be time stack. Are you with me?
Oh yeah, just marveling at your ability to handle this spreadsheet.
I mean, this is actually Google Sheets, so
I guess I should get the terminology correct.
I suck at Google Sheets. Shoot. We're gonna make this Tesla. No, come on. I suck at Google Sheets. I actually use Excel, but I couldn't figure out a way to get Excel to StreamYard, unfortunately. So delete this one. Tesla. And then do that for now, and then do gross profits as well. I'll work with the formatting later on. Get rid of this. Just gonna grab these out to 2034 now. And then Optimus doesn't start until Q1 2028. All right. What else should we work on? Energy?
Yes, sir.
Here, I'll give you capital letters. Oh yeah, now we're talking. Let's do, so your gigawatt hours, ASP, revenue, and gross margin, gross profit. What was the gigawatt hours in Q4 or Q3? Let's see. $6.9. Let's start with No, they ramped the later factories. So let's start with 10 in Q1. Okay. 10 gigawatt hours. How is that?
Sounds good.
Actually, we should probably do megawatt hours since the ASP is going to be in megawatt hours, I think. Actually, we can probably do, let's just do gigawatt hours. And then let's grow that. What do you want the growth rate to be? You're in charge now.
Oh, don't put me in charge of the bus. Let's see. Let's give them 45% growth rate.
Okay, per year though, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so then let's do 10% quarterly growth rate. How is that? Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
I'll worry about formatting later on, but good.
No, it's gonna be pretty lumpy. So
Yeah, but we can't really model lumpiness.
right.
And we don't really care for that in DCF model, honestly. And it's not predictable anyway. Like the lumpiness is not predictable, you know. Okay, ASP. What do you think?
Not exactly sure what. Talking about 2025, the Shanghai factory is going to be producing. I don't know. What would you guess?
For ASP?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the price of producing these things will decline over time as global production ramps up in multiple locations and Tesla becomes better, improves its production efficiency. But I think competition will also increase. I don't think Tesla has as much of a competitive edge, as much of a competitive moat in energy as it did in automotive. And even with the moat that it had in automotive, the margins dropped to like 15%, which is amazing. I mean, they were like 30%, you know. I think China has great battery producers, and I think megapacks are pretty much most of the batteries, like most of the battery cells, and not much beyond that. As opposed to cars, there's a lot more that goes into producing a car. So let's call it 250 per kilowatt hour for now. Okay. And 250 per kilowatt hour, and then reduce it by 1%. How is that?
It's a good place to start as any.
Okay. And by 2030, they're producing 300 gigawatt hours, installing 300 gigawatt hours of energy. So this is storage, and I mean that's most energy anyway. And so it doesn't differentiate between megapacks and power walls. So if we go back to this tab, storage deployed. Okay. Revenue. Now we have gigawatt hours and then kilowatt hours, so it's a little tricky there, but I'll figure out the that stuff later on, formatting. And then margins. let's start with let's start with 30%. Keep it at 30%. I think let's give them the benefit of the doubt that it'll stay at 30% for a while. And then you have your gross profit. Okay. So that's Optimus, automotive, energy. And what we're going to do next, in the next episode, is to break it down further. We're going to break automotive down into sexy vehicles. Probably it's going to be Model S and X. Actually, maybe we can just do sexy and then Cybertruck separately. So sexy vehicles, one bucket, Cybertruck, one bucket, and then maybe future vehicles, next bucket. And then energy, I don't know if you need to break it down between Megapacks and Powerwalls, but, and then we'll go from there, and then we'll kind of add them up and then put a discount rate on it. And that'll be our intrinsic value for starters. And then each quarter, we're going to build out the DCF. Maybe we'll add a balance sheet, cash flow statement, make an integrated, nice DCF. And then we're going to do the same for Nvidia as well. Okay.
Awesome.
And we can probably get started on Nvidia a little bit today, actually. So you have your data centers and other. We'll do that next. How about that? All right.
Sure thing.
All right. I think it's good progress for one day's work. I'm going to go grab a beer now.
Sounds like a plan. I'll catch you tomorrow, and I need to get better. I will be better for you, Iman.
No, I think you're doing great. Just ask more questions.
Yeah.
You know, I think ask more questions. Because if you have a question, then the audience has a question. You know?
Super fair. Super fair.
All right.
All right, man. Go grab that beer. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Take care.
All right.
Bye, everybody.